unclogged TV.
Beyond the policy.
Yeah, welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our main discussion on agricultural policies and some of the ways to support farmers here in Ghana. And today I have two guests who are both poultry farmers, and they are in the persons of Mr. Joseph Boachi Yadom of Juris Farms and Foods, and then Mr. Lawrence Agorosor. Right?
Agoso is okay.
Agoso, who is of AgriVision Farms. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Yes, so you're both into poultry, but I'm sure you have different ways you manage. So if you can tell us a little bit about your poultry farms, if you could first.
Thank you, and thank you for having us on the show. Juris Farms is a poultry production, processing and distribution company. We are mainly into broiler production, where we raise our birds at Doma. Okay. Then we bring them to our processing facility in Accra. We process them and supply them to supermarkets, restaurants, and households. So that's mainly what we do.
Okay. So what about you?
AgriVision Farms. We are mainly into egg production.
Okay.
We only produce eggs, and that's what we have been doing. But I myself, I have a crop background. Okay. So I take interest in all those things, including government policies.
Okay. So I'm sure you're...
But before we go on, let's use this very big platform to wish our farmers, ourselves, happy Farmers Day in advance. Because Farmers Day comes off in 3 days' time. Okay. That's 1st of November. Yeah. So we want to wish all hard-working farmers. Ours is a thankless job. The kind of things that farmers go through before putting food on our table is not easy. Yeah. I travel to my village almost every day, and I see along Ada, and so you see tomatoes and things by the roadside. You go to the market, and some of them are getting rotten. They have to sell it at a very low price and making losses. But every now and then they still spring back. Yeah. And so my prayer always for them is that everyone who makes it possible for us to get food at affordable prices, but lose in the process, God should find a way to replenish them.
Amen. Thank you so much. So as you have the crop background, so I think I may be directing more of the crop-related questions to you. But as farmers, what are some of the challenges you face in the poultry farm?
Yeah, so Ghana poultry at the moment is in a very high distress. Okay. And poultry farmers are going through a lot, especially with our main feed ingredient, which is the corn. Okay. Over the years, we have had challenges with our corn, but then this year, is very, very massive. And for that matter, I think the government has initiated a project to even support the poultry farmers with some maize and stuff. But then at the moment, we don't know how and where even that maize we are going to get it. Okay. So at the moment, Ghana poultry industry is suffering a great deal. But then we hope that with programs like this, people in authority will wake up to their responsibility and support the industry, because with the upcoming Christmas, I don't think there will be enough local birds for people to use during the festive season. And this gives room for the importation of the frozen chicken, which to me, most of them are not human grade for us to be eating, but then because there's no option and the local industry is not capable of producing to meet the demand, we have no option than to import it. So we'll take the opportunity to let government know that we are in a great distress, and for that matter, his initiative of supporting us with maize needs to be enhanced, and we need to understand the policy better so that we can access it.
Okay. So what about you, sir, Mr. Lawrence?
Our programs are myriad. Yes, mentioned only one maize. But I think apart from maize, there are other products like soya. And everything along the food chain, we have problem with it. Then when we come to farmers, poultry farming is a business that banks shy away from giving credit facilities to, because they think it's a high-risk area. Okay. Until recently, when we hear there's a company or an organization set up to solve that problem so that there will be something like farm agri insurance. Okay. I don't know how far it's been. Then we don't have the poultry farm is an unregulated problem. So you can initiate your own thing. Just get some few birds at the backyard, and then you are good to go. So we were thinking that if it is this thing that government is interested in, then the agencies, like the veterinary services, they should be the ones in charge. But nothing is happening. Everybody does his or her own thing. They will have issue of unfair competition, as my brother said, from local imports. But these imports, we have no option but to bring them in because we are not meeting our own local demands. And it talks about supply chain. I think that we farmers must also take some of the blame. The amount of money that goes into poultry production. If every farmer will dedicate some, farmers, one problem we have is that we find it difficult to organize. We like going alone. And you have maybe 2,000 birds, 500 birds. He is doing a bit better. But people have just few birds, and everybody but we don't want to come together. And these institutions who can help, they normally prefer to deal with farmer-based organization groups rather than individuals. It's easy for them to target us. So I think it's about time we talk about, whilst we are blaming government for not taking much interest, you are the one getting all the profit. Yeah. So why don't you come together and do something for your own? Okay. My farm, together with others, were gutted by the bird flu, was infected between 2021 and 2022. The government came out with a package to pay compensation. Up to now, many of the farmers have not received any compensation. At the time this thing was done, to raise birds to laying, that is around 70 Ghana cedis. Government said it's paying 30 cedis and 20 cedis. Then the price of egg at the time was around 24, 25 cedis. Government said it's paying 8 cedis per crate as compensation. Feed was selling at 139, 165. Government is paying 80 cedis. As I speak now, the price of feed is around 400 cedis plus. Egg is selling around 60 cedis per crate. Government are still not paid. If you are giving that money today, 30 cedis, now it costs about 100 cedis to produce one bird to lay in. But you are going to be giving 30 cedis. Even that one, government does not know when they are going to pay. So some of the farmers are now in court trying to take that money, and if there could be any interest on it, to make up for. Because everything, at the time, the dollar was not even up to 6 cedis. Now the dollar is 16 cedis. I was just reading online that it's gone to 16 cedis, 80 pesos. So that money has virtually eroded. You see, so it looks like, and also the problem with us is that where government wants to target, there is cronyism. Okay. I'm sure you probably have heard online that government is rolling out programs to support farmers with feed and maize. we were asked to submit our names. I submitted names of many farmers in my vicinity. When we check with the association, Ghana Greater Accra Association of Poultry Farmers, they said they have not heard anything up to now. It's about a month now. So, but when you go inside, you see that some people are receiving. So it has become like sometimes we are in an election, so all those things come into play.
Oh,
yeah.
So with the answer you've been given, I'm not sure I can ask my next question, because I wanted to ask if there are any government policies at the moment, any current policies that one way or another sort of mitigate some of these challenges.
For the policies, they are there. When government came, they initiated planting for food and jobs. But we are still importing food. We should ask ourselves, how effective are the policies been that will produce one season, and then the next season we don't have food. We don't have enough storage. We cannot keep food that we can eat for even 1 year without importing. We cannot feed ourselves. So what is the effectiveness of the policies? The policies will come, but sometimes do we have money targeting the policies actually, and is it going to the right direction?
Okay, so what are some of the ways you think that we can make these policies more effective?
You see, some of the policies that they make, they do it is top down. They don't know what the farmers are looking for.
Okay.
Now, this tomato, I keep saying this. I'm sure when you were young, tomatoes were rotting. Banana was getting rotten. Pear, plantain. As for cassava, thankfully now people are using it for beer.
Wow.
So now cassava is hot cake.
Okay.
I'm telling you, when you go to my hometown, now nobody peels cassava. You just uproot it. There is a bobo here, this tricycle. They come and buy, send to the beer, the breweries.
Oh. Okay.
So a lot of people are growing cassava. These are some of the initiatives we are looking for. But beyond that, even before then, cassava always have, the cassava doesn't get rotten because it can be turned into kokonte.
Yes.
It can turn into gari,
yes,
and many other things, apart from our own fufu and the rest.
Yeah.
So they don't, and even the peels, they use it for animal feed.
Yeah.
So they don't have, it has a multiple use. What has research done? Research and development. What has it done? So that we can have something for the banana. What about pear? They get rotten, it's an eyesore. Plantain, sometimes they use it for kaklu. But how many people eat kaklu?
Oh, a lot to do. Kaklu and kilewele.
And it's expensive.
Yes, it is. It's very
you see?
expensive because of
so
the
affordability.
Yeah.
You see, so what are we doing? And we are not even promoting locally eating of local food. We are so fixated on pizza and the Indomie and things like that.
Those are the Indomie 5 minutes and it's ready.
But it's not healthy.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so like he's saying, most of the policies are very theoretical and not practical.
Okay.
So in theory, they look good. But then in practice, they are not something that you can get results by applying those policies. And therefore, I would like to urge the government to sometimes do some pilots of such policies, get the right people, because most of the initiatives of government sometimes goes to people who I would say are politically connected, and therefore their ability to make the program work properly is not that way, because when they know, oh, in any event, this is my friend and I can explain the reason why I didn't succeed. But if you give it to someone that you properly ensure that he does it and yield results, if he fails, you look at the reasons why he failed, then you can correct it. But most of these initiatives, like there was one under NDC where they have the broiler revitalization project. It failed woefully. There are a lot of broiler projects that the government has initiated which have failed, and I've never come across a proper report that seeks to expose the reasons why those initiatives failed and what can be done to make it work.
Okay.
Because like there are a lot of when you look at the policies on paper, they are very good.
Yeah.
And the motive behind it to make us food sufficient and all that. But at the end of the day, 90% of these policies fail practically, and nothing is being done about it. So we roll over these failed policies over and over again, and we have this, we are at the same place all the time. So I will urge the government to look at the initiatives that he has put on the ground and what the results. So if it was positive, what were the good? Whether positive or negative, there are good part and the bad part. So we take the good part, improve on it, and on the bad side, we look at what can be done better so that we avoid those kind of mistakes.
Okay, so would you, so like Mr. Lawrence was saying that farmers like to, for lack of a better word, farmers are more individualistic. So would you say that it would be better for maybe our government or maybe the ministries to engage the groups of farmers in a sit-down conversation as to how practical these policies could be, where these farmers would, you know, the policy will be explained and then they get to understand, and then they can tell you, even from just hearing that, okay, so and so would not work. Do you think that would be one of the best ways to go about it?
Yes. And most of these policies during the development stages, most of the farmers are consulted. But you see, I bet to differ a bit about this group thing.
Okay.
You see, we have a lot of people coming from different backgrounds who have different motives as to how. So sometimes you go in there with a clear mind to do and make things work. Someone comes and is only looking to access something and then use it for another purpose. Yeah. So sometimes when you go in a group and then the bad ones
are the ones leading.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. You tend to. There are a lot of government initiatives that I have personally opted out.
Okay.
Because I tell them point blank, these ABCD, it will not work. And at the end of the day, they go ahead, implement it, it doesn't work, and no one is held responsible.
So when, you know, when maybe you as a farmer, you let them know that it would not work, do you also take the step to tell them why it would not work and what the alternative should be, rather than leaving them to their own devices?
Yes, and like I said, you see, a lot of people come into these meetings with their own and so some of these things, they know clearly that what you are saying is right, but then you are in the minority. And
okay, so there's a little bit of a disconnect among farmers.
Yes, too. Very, very well.
So you see, we are talking about explaining to government.
Yes.
You see, the government, every government that comes, the problem we are having in our country is lack of continuity. Every government comes and wants to do their own thing.
Yes, that's true.
If the NDC introduced broadline fertilization program, it didn't work, there must be postmortem to find out why it failed. Then this government will take on from there. Look at the projects we have across the country. Kufo Estates, affordable here and there. Then these people also came to do Saglemi. That is what they do. Everyone comes, they want to do something that identifies with them.
Their party,
but the money you are using is Ghana money. All these projects that are dotted out, they are cost to me and you. So
do you as farmers also admonish them to rather take that? Because if they are not getting these suggestions, maybe they will say, well, then the people too don't want something like that.
Ghana, we employ civil servants and they become civil masters. So they don't listen to you.
Okay. So with your suggestion on unionizing farmers in Ghana, what are some of the ways you think would be best to get farmers to become, so you see how we have, let's say, Concerned Teachers Association, NAT. If we had farmers all over the country in the various regions or districts coming together, what are some of the ways you think could be sort of advertised to them to come together with one mind to be a union of farmers together?
First of all, I think that government can by legislation. If you want to be a farmer, you must be in this group.
Okay.
But there must be a code of ethics.
Okay.
That must be applied. So my brother was talking about people coming to do this. If there is a law that this is what is happening here, then you must follow that. Otherwise, if you are in a leadership, there must be a way to get you out if you are not doing the right thing. But Ghana, we don't like talking.
Yeah.
If he says it now, somebody will say he's a bad person. So me pay me one cent. But if there are rules, if you want to join, if you want to be a farmer, you must join this group. You must join a group. And these are the codes and ethics. I think that if government employs a consultant to deal with us, he deals with us as a group. I'm looking forward to a day where we have groups. Some time ago, we met the Millennium Challenge people. And then it said they have a project, an enclave project. They want to reduce the cost of poultry and rice. Okay. And they have acquired land at Kumewu, 200,000 hectares, and another 10,000 acres at a place called Kasunya in the Dangbe, Bampram Ningo area. So it's going to be an enclave between, I think, South Tong or North Tong, one of them, Bampram Ningo, and then Dodua. So it means that the people in that area will take that place. And there was a guy there called Nana, a young man, who has about 500 acres of rice. As at the time we went. We went there, they took us there, we went around, and they told us that we should look for a place that we can build poultry there. And we told them, no. You build the structures. We want it to be an enclave where we are in. So that any farmer who wants to farm, come there. You can employ somebody. The vet will be there like customs are. Nobody comes there anyhow. There are rules here. Even from there, the government himself can be able to generate some revenue. The vets are the ones supervising everything. So you pay them for their services. So they generate income, internal generated funds. Okay. At the same time, government has opportunity to collect taxes from you because you are making money. Yeah. You see?
Yeah. So what about you, Mr. Bachi Adam? What are some of the things you think could help with unionizing farmers in Ghana?
Me personally, I have a bit of a challenge on that. Even though it's a good initiative, but looking at how it stands now and how porous our poultry industry is, bringing people together, I don't think is the way to go. Okay. It's about empowering individual farms, especially the commercial farms, to be able to stand on their feet. So because we are talking about the smallholder farmers who are doing but 1,000, 2,000, up to like 5,000 once. If they're able, they should be able to manage it. But by looking at someone who has 20, 30, 40,000 beds, it's difficult. And in the case of shortage of maize, you have a huge problem because you can't tell the birds to wait and for you to find the feed and all that. And when you have that kind of farm and you are managing, meeting with these smallholder farmers tend to be a world apart issue. So your problems are not their problems. Their problems are not your problems. So it makes it difficult for you to like make any meaningful suggestion when you meet. Well, let's say we meet and we have 100 farmers. We want to come together. The smallholder farmers are like 80, 90. The big farmers are 10. The problem of the big farmers is no. So there's a bit of a disconnect. Even though it's good in the long run for the poultry industry to have it, we really need to, the government needs to maybe deal with the individual farmers, especially the commercial farmers, empower them so they can descend their support to the smallholder farmers, for which reason they can even bring the smallholder farmers together. Because if I'm a commercial farmer and your smallholder farmer, you tend to benefit from me. For example, maybe I can buy corn, I can import, or let's say get someone to grow 50 tons of maize for me. and probably you need 5 or 10 tons in a year, and I tell you, let's come together so that in your year's maize that you need, I'll support you to get it, which is easy for me. Then we can then mobilize the smallholder farmers, because everyone joining an association or something ask of the benefit to him personally. Yeah. So most of the time, and this is why most of these poultry organizations are not working, because after you've in quotes wasted your time to attend the seminar, attend the meeting, at the end of the day, you go home and you think it's a waste of time. But then, if you go and you know that, oh, this initiative will benefit me both in policy and practically on my farm, then the next time you call me for a meeting, I will come. But here is a situation whereby they call for a meeting, you go there, and at the end of the day, you ask yourself, what am I? So the next time they call, most of the big farms will not come. Yeah. And sometimes it is them that have the voice. When policies and these initiatives come, there are a few key people that they call. So most of even the smallholder farmers don't even hear about it. But then if there is that connect between the commercial farmers and the smallholder farmers, then that message will descend, and whatever information that is put out there will be monitored by the big farmers to ensure that the smallholder farmers also access those facilities and information to their benefit. So at the end of the day, the poultry industry stands to benefit. But then at the moment, the disconnect is too much.
Okay, thank you so much. So it's time for a quick break. Don't forget to send in your questions, your comments, and suggestions to our WhatsApp number displayed on your screen, and also on our live stream on YouTube and on Facebook. We will be right back from this break. You're welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we are having our main discussion, which is on agricultural policies, the best ways to support farmers here in Ghana. And our phone lines are open, so you can call in to ask your questions, and then our guests here will answer you. And don't forget to send in your comments to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, and also onto our WhatsApp number displayed on your screen. Our phone line would also be displayed on your screen, so you can call in with any of your pressing questions. So, right, back into the conversation. We're talking about farmers unionizing, and during the break I was asking that wouldn't getting farmers together give them a voice? Sometimes when a policy is implemented, and maybe, like you were saying, that the commercial farmers may have the voice, but then the smaller holder farmers may not. Maybe in a situation where there's a policy and it may adversely affect the smaller holder farmers, if they are under the umbrella of the commercial farmers, maybe these commercial farmers could speak up for them that this policy, we don't agree to it because it may run down a lot of businesses. What about something like that?
Yeah, let me react to what you said earlier about people wanting autonomy.
We'll come to that. We're
all right.
Yeah. So in a situation like that, wouldn't bringing farmers together be a good option?
Yeah. So like the obvious saying, there's strength in unity. So definitely coming together is a good thing. But what I'm trying to say is, at this point in time of the Ghana poultry industry, it will be a bit difficult, even though it's necessary. But then we can start the process, because even the umbrella association of the Ghana poultry industry, which is Ghana Poultry Farmers Association, has its own challenges with organization, leadership, and a whole lot. You see, so it should start from there, and that is where the big poultry farms are all in there. So the smallholder farmers can be registered as well. So that, but I would suggest there should be a segregation whereby even in the association, there's a part for the commercial farmers and the smallholder farmers, so that both will have their leadership, and then there's that there's that coordination to ensure that everyone's problems are properly, because when you combine the two, like I'm saying, the commercial farmers have their problems, and like there's 1,000 bags of maize. I use 1,000 bags in about 2-3 days, and you have smallholder farmer who can use it for the whole year. Okay. You see, so my problem is not their problem. So at the end of the day, there should be that kind of result-oriented, targeted at which farmer group that you are talking about. But here is the situation where we combine the whole two. So at the end of every meeting, it's either one had a solution and the other is going without a solution, but then for us to have a proper solution-oriented meetings, there should be that kind of segregation whereby, because each have their peculiar problems. So coming together is the most important thing. But then having to understand and know whose problem is what. Yes, what is very key.
So, Mr. Agosto, you were talking about legislation requiring this unification of farmers via legislation, and I was asking that, what about a situation where farmers are seeking autonomy? Because I can't say me na me de me home and I must start in my farm, and you want to by law oblige me to do ABC. So in a situation, you were about to react to that before we came back from the break. So yes, let's continue that.
I am saying that there's no country where people have absolute autonomy. Unless it's a banana republic, every country has rules. In fact, in Ghana, you can't operate anything, even by law. The person hawking should have registered with the Registrar General. Everything happening in this country, economic activity, must be tracked. Okay? Because all those people must pay taxes. And the taxes are not the same. The tax that my brother will pay is not the same tax I will pay, because it produces at a bigger level. But there must be registration to know what happens. Okay. And so if there are help that must be given to some, they know which people to give to. That is what happens. So you cannot just say, I'm autonomous. You can be autonomous by setting up, you'll be a one-man business. But there are rules. In the same way I'm saying, if the government says that you cannot operate, I don't think that Ghana Medical Association, there is any doctor in the country here who does not belong to GME. It's by law. So if we can do that, until Nagrat came to the scene, even CLOSAC, I think you used to have different unions before. Yes, before you had CLOSAC. Until those things came on board, people were always unionized. That is the only way you can fight for your cause. If you want to go all alone, you will not win. Because there are a lot of problems. Look, the small farmers we are talking about, accessibility. That's why food gets rotten. You cannot go to your farm. So government must facilitate some of this. Government is the facilitator to ensure that production is done. You have ever heard of KOKO routes being done to food growing areas, so that food can be transported
with ease.
With ease. Some of these challenges can better be articulated with one voice. But my voice alone cannot do that. How many farmers will have the opportunity to sit in front of CLOSAC TV and be beamed across the whole world? You see, but with a group, we can do that. Everybody can make a suggestion. What I'm saying here, maybe somebody in a village has a superior knowledge. But if we're in a group, we'll bring it.
Yes, you have those conversations.
So I still believe that coming together is, and like we said, the strength is unity. Long ago, when we were young, there's something called Nobua. We help each other. In the same way, we can help to sell our products. But if you want to sell alone, it's a problem. Marketing, those things all come into play. And then when we are together, we can fight for our price. Because we can also form a cartel.
Cartel, wow, okay. So you mentioned accessibility. So let's talk a little bit about that. So you have birds. So aside the maize, is there any other thing you feed your fowls?
Yeah, so the feed component, we have one part which is about 5% of the feed component, which is the concentrate.
Okay.
It comes with the amino acids and all the nutritional stuff. Then the maize accounts for about 60%. Then you need soybean meal, which is the protein aspect of it. You can use fish meal or soybean meal. And that is where we also have a problem, because that's the waste product of the extraction of oil from the soya.
Okay.
So after they've extracted it, the waste product is what we use to feed our poultry. And the local companies are not getting enough soya beans to process. Okay. And therefore, there's a clear, and they are, at the moment, they are producing less than 10% of the soya bean meal we are using. The rest is imported from either Argentina or Brazil. And because of the dollar stuff and all that, the price has ballooned over over a few months now, and it's becoming difficult. So,
if I may, I'll let you continue with the soya. Even with the soya, 2 years ago, the one we are producing in this country were all being bought by Indians.
Yeah, and they export.
They are buying from the farmers in dollars.
Yeah.
Oh. So that poses a challenge to local consumers.
Yes, and also the poultry industry,
because you don't have the money. They have the money.
The value chain of the poultry industry extends beyond poultry. Okay. So so if there's a proper grain production system in the country, then the poultry industry will be okay. But now there's no, so their problems affect us. And so it becomes difficult at the moment the Ghana poultry is in a lot of distress. You may even have the money, but then you can't even access and like maize is a problem at the moment. A lot of farmers are crying. Probably we have the money to buy, but then you can't get it to buy.
Okay.
And not the prices, the rate at which the prices can change. For instance, about 4 months ago, the price of maize was selling around 260. But now the price is selling as 380.
380.
You can see the difference.
Yeah.
So the trajectory, the sudden change can throw many farmers out of business. Okay. That's why the value chain, if we don't get the crop right, the soya, the maize, even groundnut, because time was we're using groundnut quick. When they extract the oil, it's also proteinous as well as having energy. The same applies to the soya. The soya is not only a source of protein, it has a lot of energy, especially our locally pressed ones, which still have oil in them. They have.
Okay. So with the grains, what about beans? Beans are also protein.
They have, but beans is very expensive.
Okay, beans, yeah, it's true.
And don't forget that the soya bean, we are not using the raw beans. We are using the waste. The leftover. The same applies to, we are using palm kernel cake. Palm kernel cake also have protein, up to about 18%. So when you are calculating your feed, you don't just, even though we are saying that maize is the source of energy, maize still have about 4%, up to, depending on the variety, up to about 10% of protein. So you have to calculate all those things. Okay. And the same way, soya bean also have energy. Okay. Even though you have the primary source.
So in a situation where maize is a little bit of an issue, maize is mainly carbohydrates, right? So what about something like rice or the cassava gari?
So think about,
aren't there alternatives like that?
When you do that, you also think about the cost.
Yes, the cost.
Because if you are using 1 bag of rice,
so it means that the prices,
assuming that you are using,
are also higher.
Assuming that you are using Cindy rice.
No, locally produced rice. Hey, Cindy, you want to buy Cindy rice for pounds? Then what do human being eat? Okay, so in situations like this where procuring feed is a bit of an issue, have farmers been open to the idea of diversification, where maybe like you have the crop background, so maybe you decide to grow some soya beans for yourself to be using. So in growing the soya beans along with your poultry farm, you're making soybean oil, and then you're also using the feed, and then the droppings of the fowls for manure, something like that.
That should have been the ideal. But the poultry industry, the poultry operation alone itself is so tedious that when you don't want to multitask, do multitasking, because the crop production itself is also a business on its own. It's not just about growing maize.
Yeah.
You see, the problem we have in this country is not just about that we don't have large tract of land, but what is the yield per hectare?
Growing 4 parts.
What are you getting? How many? So when you go to Europe, what is the standard yield per hectare? Assuming that the last time we went to this Millennium challenge people to the Kasunya, they were saying the rice, they're producing like 5 tons per hectare. So if you are producing 2 tons per hectare, you are losing already. You are not competitive. And then look at our soils. The soils are depleting.
Well, we have a few comments here. I think we even have some questions too. So this one says, do you support or oppose genetically modified organisms in farming? And this is from Ejari Kevin from Tamale. So yes, GMO.
I think we are capable of producing natural food for ourselves. So at the moment, I don't think we need any GMO stuff.
Okay. So what about
Listen, the ingredients that we use, most of them are GMO anyway.
Oh.
The soya they import that we use in our this thing. What kind of is it naturally produced, or the maize that we import?
Okay.
You see?
So you as
but they are not GMO certified, so you can't say it's GMO because on their packaging, because from those imported ones, if they are GMO, they will indicate on it.
Okay.
Yeah, but then none of them indicates that it's GMO.
Okay.
If they are cheating us, then
I don't think he trusts the packaging.
Yeah, but then you can't
also make allegations like that. I understand. So okay, this is a comment. Clock TV is doing great. Kudos. Wow. No politics. I'm Kojo Kumsim from Takrade. Thank you very much. So we also have another set of questions from Mr. Daniel AJ. He's asking that how do you stay informed about the policy issues affecting farming here in Ghana?
How do you stay informed? Well, it depends on the institution involved.
Okay.
If our institutions are working well, I think that the public relation directory should be giving out these things.
Okay.
In the past, for instance, if we want to know what Crop Research Institute is doing, every year they release the varieties they have come out with.
Okay.
And then they publish brochures, newsletters, and sometimes handouts. They even tell you this type of maize we have brought. This is the planting distance. Okay. These things come. Okay. So whatever policies influence, they are not doing policy, they are implementing policy. So if you want this, you go to the ministry that is in charge. Okay. And fortunately for us now, in the era of technology, you should be able to go to the website of any institution and find out what their policy. Go to a ministry, find out what go to government, what their policies are, and then how it's being implemented, which agency is implementing. These things are easy to go by now.
So what about you? How do you also stay informed?
So for me as a farmer, I deal with the Ministry of Agri, especially with the Animal Production Department, and I have links there. So in the event of anything, I can access.
So so Mr. Daniel J says he wants to also become a farmer. And he's asking again, do you participate in any agricultural advocacy groups or organizations?
For me, no.
Not okay. You see, that is where your group is also an agriculture advocacy group. Okay. So if you are in a farmer group, that's where you carry out your advocacy.
Okay. So, one more comment. This one says, hello, Koko Digest. You're doing so well. Congratulations. How do you think rural infrastructure such as roads and broadband impacts farming communities. I'm watching you live from Norway. This is from John Asante. Thank you very much for your comments and questions.
He was asking, yes, how do you think
rural infrastructure impacts farming?
Yes, right. The farmers also, they deserve all the nice things we see in the city. If they are there, people will not be minded. If they have good houses, they have good roads, they have good drinking water, health facility, they also access the internet, they know what is happening. It also improves their practices, because they are seeing what others are doing.
So I think it is common knowledge now that our roads are one of the major reasons that agriculture in Ghana is not moving forward to an extent. Because I think I even saw a video quite recently, plantain, the car had just capsized, and it was attributed to the condition of the road. So in such a situation, aside, yes, we need to build the infrastructure. What else can farmers do with regards to production?
Transportation.
Yes, and even transporting the food.
No, you see, that's where sometimes we can look at something I would call appropriate technology. You see, many years ago, we were having this bullock.
Okay.
You know the bullock, the cows, two cows paired together, and sometimes they could even put a small cat behind them. Some of these animals can pass through places where these cars will get stuck. So they can help bring the thing a bit closer to the road. You see, it may take some time, but it is better than the car just getting falling, parking all this system falling. And so we must be innovative in some of this. But actually, the construction of the road is a must. If we want to feed ourselves, and let's forget, we must not forget that food security is a national security issue.
Yes, that's true.
It's not just about gun and police and you know.
So again, on the roads issue. So assuming our roads are in good condition, from Accra to I think Brong-Ahafo was about 8 hours.
Yeah, about 9 hours.
If I'm sure it's because of it's like that's because of some parts of the roads and even traffic. So let's say road conditions are good, traffic issues, our roads are expanded and everything. Maybe the time frame has reduced about 6 because it's still quite a distance. What can farmers do with regards to preservation of the food, that something like the perishable goods like pepper, tomatoes that do not like a lot of heat could. So by the time maybe tomatoes from Brong-Ahafo reaches Accra, about half have already started getting soft and things like that. What can farmers do to preserve their food? What innovative ideas can they employ?
So you see, the farmer has a responsibility. Okay. He's supposed to farm, and along the value chain, there should be the aggregator who will go to the farmer. And so preservation has, under normal circumstances, have got nothing to do with the farmer. Because the farming is tedious enough for the farmer to think about even marketing. But then here we are living in a country where the farmer, you have to take responsibility along the whole value chain, up to sometimes bringing your farm produce to the market and even having to sell it one by one. You see, so this and the technology and the equipment and stuff to preserve it, farmers don't have it. So that would be a very difficult thing. So it's all about the national structure being streamlined so that there's a proper aggregation system whereby the farm is registered and all that. So we know that the harvest is coming this time. So arrangements are made for the goods to be picked up, taken to wherever it's supposed to be preserved or to be sold or whatever. Because bringing the farmer into the value chain, then it limits the farmer not to be able to do commercial farming.
But then, you know, in a situation where you are producing plantain, like the plantain man, all that has happened now, by the time he gets his affairs in order to transport the plantain back to where he was initially transporting it, maybe the person wanted unripe plantains, but by the time it gets there, it's all ripened. In a situation like that, does it not still lie on the farmer?
That's why it's difficult for farmers are going through this kind of hell, because at the end of the day, the stress of the farmer ends on the farm. But now it has to, yeah. So and this will come at a loss to the farmer, which discourages the person to then rather sell the land for people to use as galamsey. Because if I do plantain and can't go through all this wahala, then I just take one-off money, I build the house, and then find a buy and sell business to do, which then in the long run affects the whole country. So I think the Ministry of Agric has a responsibility to streamline the whole system. I've always said that Ghana as a country, we need to take one day to stop our nonsense and in quotes, and then start all over again. So that most of, and these are things that people are doing it right elsewhere, that we can just copy and paste and then do some small changes to suit our local this thing. But then we are just sitting down there, wasting time and talking too much. At the end of the day, nothing is being done.
So just like I was even asking about the diversification, I think I can link the diversification and then the various processes, production to marketing. Wouldn't that be an avenue for creating jobs? So like as you are producing the birds and then you decide to produce soya oil too, because of how tedious it is, would it not be prudent to employ people who would manage that, while you also employ people who do the transporting, the killing, the plucking, all the processes that are involved in the bird production?
Like for us, how we started with only production. Okay. And we started raising broilers, 500 broilers, especially for on occasions. And could you believe that we couldn't sell 500 broilers even during Christmas, and our broilers were laying during the previous year, where broilers are not supposed to lay. Oh, okay. Then we thought about finding our own market. We found our own market, and they wanted us to dress for them. So we had to set up a processing facility to be able to process and deliver. So now, what in our capacity now, we bring at least 5,000 birds every 3 days from Doma. Okay. And we have to. If I wouldn't have invested in the transport system if there's a ready transporter who transport the birds. But now I have to transport my own birds from Doma, bring them, go through the process of processing them, and then deliver to the supermarkets and the households that I supply to, which is so difficult and hard work for me to do. Probably if I concentrated on only producing broilers, I'll be producing, let's say, 100, 200,000 birds a month. But because I have to take charge of the whole value chain, I'll then have to be doing, let's say, 30,000 a month. You get my point? So if I was only into production, then I'll concentrate and produce more. Then whoever is into the transportation of the birds. But here's a situation whereby you can produce, if you leave even one of the areas of the value chain to someone else whose incompetence come to play and disappoints you along the value chain, then you also disappoint your final consumer, and then within a short time the channel breaks. Oh, okay. So it becomes difficult when you have to diversify and let someone take charge of something, because sometimes the inefficiency of the person will come back and haunt you. Meanwhile, probably you have a contract with the person, you've paid the person money, and then you use the money for another thing, then he comes and tells you stories. Then now you have to tell your final consumer story, which 1, 2, 3, then you lose that market. So you have to take charge of the whole value chain.
But you see, I'm not sure that we must always take charge of the whole value chain. I operate around the Monkatamanso area. Okay. The farmers there, they don't prepare their feed. You either buy the feed from the feed manufacturing companies, or all that they do is to come and order the ingredients, and there are people who produce the feed. Maybe you need to be there to supervise. You see, with what he's saying now, what is the lot of us? if touch food, God forbid, today, for any reason, he could not produce, he cannot do the work he's doing, or even the worst case scenario, he passes on, the business will just collapse. And that is the lot of Ghana. Once the person leaves, then there is no continuity. And I think we have to get to a stage where we must be able to leave this, because if we want to be jack of all trades, it's going to be a problem for us.
So would you suggest something of like training, as you've both probably been in the business for some time, so maybe before you employ, or because I know some farmers who do some sort of training training sessions where I know a fish farmer who would organize the training as to how to start up your own fish farm business and something like that. So with the poultry too, wouldn't it be good to set up a training for people so that if they are also interested in getting employed, after learning everything they've learned, then maybe you start to work together one way or another?
Well, I hear the government has a facility now where you can gather people to train them. Government pays you.
Yes.
But you see, it's one thing training somebody. I don't know if what you are doing is what you trained for, or you were into something else and then you just love TV. And then you came in. So you can see somebody trained as a doctor and is a musician. So there are people come to you for job, not so much because they like the job. Yeah, they just want to sustain us. Yes. And once they get to their groove, they will leave. That's the thing. You need to get the person who has the mind to do that. And most of the time, it's not just about training book and pen. No, it's hands-on.
Yeah, the hands-on.
Yes, the hands-on is the thing. But the hands-on alone is not enough. The mental attitude to the job must be there. Okay. You will do it. If you say you should take shovel to change litter, you will do so. But it's his heart in the business. You see, whatever you want to do, you do it even if you are not paid for. If it is something you really love to do, you are called to do, you can do it pro bono. You get it? So the training is good, that you train people, but you can have a very brilliant accountant. Is he honest? Okay. The moral question also comes in.
Yeah, and with the training, I would like to take the opportunity to commend MasterCard Foundation. Okay. They've really come up with some initiatives where some big farmers are being asked to employ some youth, especially young women, train them, and after they've properly been trained, they are set up. So they will provide the coop and some beds for them, so that they also start their production cycle, and it's going very well.
Okay,
but these things that they are doing is good, but they should look at the people they are training, because the poultry industry, you need the person who has the heart to do it. Yeah, because you give them the money, you do it. 2 days when there's a challenge, then he leaves the business.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. We have one more question here, but my producers will have my head. So, okay, so in answering this question, then we take your closing remarks. So this one is saying, this is from James Tego from Spintex. He's asking, what policy changes would you like to see to benefit farmers? Then when you answer, then you add your closing remarks so that we wrap up quickly.
Well, policy changes that targets the farmer, and which is realistic, which have the farmer in mind. I mean, policies that emanates from the farmer, not top down.
Okay.
You go and listen to the people, and then know exactly what they are going through. Because we have not exhausted all our topics, but of course we are finished.
The time.
Because we are talking about labor. Labor is a problem in poultry industry now. We don't have getting people, because of this galamsey and this Okada business. Now it's difficult to get people to work for. And we're supposed to be investing in technology, but that one too, people are frowning on the use of cages to raise the birds. Okay? And so let's look at what policies that will help us to push this thing forward. Because we have had policies all this while, but we are where we are. Why are we where we are? Is it because the policies are not being implemented right? Or people just draft the policy with no intention of actually implementing them? Ghana, in this country, will have good policies for everything, except when it comes to implementation. Yeah.
Okay, so what are also your closing remarks to farmers and potential farmers out there?
Well, I just want to repeat my congratulations to them on Farmers' Day. And my prayer is that we'll have government that will take their interests at heart, not just with words, but by action.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And I think he's exhausted the policy issues. So I will also congratulate all farmers and then tell Ghanaians that we have the best chicken in this country, and therefore if you want chicken, you just contact us, Jory's Farms.
Okay, so we have Mr. Joseph Boachi.
Tell your accountant to give him an invoice.
So we have Mr. Joseph Boachi Yadom from Jory's Farms, and then Mr. Lawrence Agoso from AgriVision Farms as well. So yes, feel free to contact them. As Christmas is coming, you can buy the chicken from them. And don't forget, come buy me some. So this brings us to the end of the KOKO Digest Morning Show. It was a pleasure having you here, and we hope to have you back very soon to continue the conversation. And a big thank you to you, our viewers, for staying with us from 6:30 a.m. all the way till now. A big thank you to our production team, our management, everybody that joined hands to make this show a success. We are most grateful. And as you go through your day, don't forget to spread positivity, keep a beautiful smile on your face, and of course, show somebody some love today. Do have an amazing week ahead.
Clog TV, beyond the policy.